counting down to the start of Radio 1 Vintage.
10 seconds to go before Radio 1. Tony Blackburn, stand by for switching. Get tuned to Radio 1 or 2. 5, 4, 3. Radio 1, go. Go, 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 go.
The voice of Radio 1. Woke up one morning, half asleep.
Welcome to the exciting new sound of Radio 1.
Music, music, music.
Music, music, music. Listen to the music.
Radio 1.
And now the story so far. How you doing, gang? All right? All right? All right?
This could be massive.
The Radio 1 Road Show. London calling to the faraway town. England, Scotland, Ireland, Wales.
More rock than you can handle.
275-285.
Britain's favorite
Radio 1
Stop showing off.
in the 90s.
Ooh la la la, it's the way that we rock.
entertainers.
Radio 1. This is very exciting. Ooh la 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 la.
As we continue.
Strike a pose, there's nothing to it.
Oh, it's a big that one, isn't it?
Those trailer park girls go round the outside, round the outside, round the outside. I say, don't you know?
Coming looking so crazy right now. Your love's coming looking so crazy right now.
You say you don't know.
Good morning, everybody.
There's a fire starting in my bones.
Let the music soothe you.
I need a wonder.
And good morning, everyone. Welcome to the exciting new sound of Radio 1. Let's rewind.
The Radio 1 Breakfast Show with Nick Grimshaw. It's time to wake up.
Our guests for the day are here.
My eyes were shut, but I was still not awake, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Wake yourself up.
The nerves never go when you enter that studio.
Listen to the Radio 1 Breakfast Show with Nick Grimshaw.
Can you stop showing up in front of your friends?
3, 2, 1.
I think this one's going to get a little bit deep. It's musical and it's personal.
Please welcome to Radio 1 the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge. Oh, you guys know how to count backwards from 40, right?
We'll find out in a second.
You'll be fine.
This is the official chart with Greg James.
Good afternoon. It's Friday, the 10th of July, 2015. It's 4 o'clock. This is BBC Radio 1, and welcome to the exciting new sound of the official chart with Greg James for the first time ever on a Friday.
Ready to press play.
Press play, baby.
1.
This is
When it begins. BBC Radio 1.
There's a magic in here.
We're here to have a good time. Simply amazing.
20 years we made Ibiza our home.
We're going to celebrate Radio 1's 20-year association with Ibiza. Tonight, coming live from the Royal Albert Hall. Let's do this.
BBC Radio 1's big weekend. Norwich.
On Friday, I sent my friend Chris off to interview Mila Kunis. It's now had just under 3 million views.
I'm a very average lad from Watford. This shouldn't be happening to
I
me.
know. But enjoy it. It won't happen again.
Greg James in Afghanistan.
With the Forces Station, BFBS.
And BBC Radio 1.
So it's becoming slightly more normal now, which in itself is weird that it's normal to be in Afghanistan.
The games of the 30th Olympiad in 2012 are awarded to the city of London.
100,000 people will see dozens of acts over 2 days.
If you live in Hackney, you should be buzzing this morning.
BBC Radio 1's Hackney Weekend. 2012.
Newsbeat.
Chris Moyles is stepping down from the Radio 1 Breakfast Show.
We've had a little play with the new Newsbeat jingles.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Yeah. Just to kind of emphasise the message that they're trying to get across.
I don't know if I've improved it in any way. I hope that we have, Dave.
Let's have a listen.
See if this kind of says more to you.
Listen, watch, share.
Sorry, I'm ready. See, it's another Cher song, Alan. See what we've done there? Oh, please.
BBC Radio 1 Vintage begins in 55 minutes.
Danny Howard. So it really was the moment that changed my life. And fast forward 8 months, here I am with my own show on Radio 1.
BBC Radio 1's Superstar DJ.
And that person going to Ibiza to DJ at Radio 1's party tomorrow night in front of thousands of people, in front of real superstar DJs, Calvin Harris and Pete Tong on your shoulder watching you as you do your thing and the crowd go mad. That person going to Ibiza and the winner of the Superstar DJ competition is... to you, Danny.
Oh my God.
Well done. Danny, you have won.
Well done.
If you like your music, it's the place to be. Radio 1's big weekend is here, and tickets are free.
Thank you, Carlisle, for making Radio 1's Big Weekend a massive success.
Radio 1's Live Lounge.
Okay, well, look, here in the Live Lounge, down at Maida Vale, is Eminem.
Music is my passion. This is what I'm passionate about, so why don't we just do it?
You just want to do it? She comes from Yonkers, New York. At 17, she went to the Tisch School of Arts in New York City. They only take 20 people a year, and she was one of those people. So obviously the talent was there from an early age. It's Lady Gaga live on Radio 1 in the Live Lounge.
I hear Jerusalem bells ringing, Roman cavalry choirs are singing.
Yeah, Joe Alley, Radio 1, Jigga Man. Can I get an encore? Do you want more? Cooking raw with the Brooklyn boys. So for one last time, I need y'all raw. How you like that?
I like it a lot.
Yeah.
That will do me nicely. Thank you very much indeed, Jay-Z in the Live Lounge. In my house, in my lounge, I guess.
I'm honored to be here today.
The Red Nose Climb on Radio 1.
I am indeed going to Africa, and I am going to climb Mount Kilimanjaro. I will do everything I can to get to the top of that mountain, and I'm really determined. I'm definitely going to do it.
I'm getting on with it, and I will reach the top.
Thanks to you lot texting in, we now have £1 million.
On the top of Mount Kilimanjaro.
The search is on. The search is on. The search is on. Who will play Scott Mills? Scott Mills. Scott Mills, the musical. Scott Mills. Scott Mills, the musical. Scott Mills, the musical. Scott Mills, the musical. My Pinot Grigio.
Half time of the show, it's a bit where Dave will say,
Let's get ready to rumble!
It's time for Car Park Catchphrase, and here's your host, Chris Moyle.
The Chris Moyle Show. The Chris Moyle Show. The Chris Moyle Show. Radio 1's longest running breakfast show. Come on in, everybody.
This is BBC Switch on Radio 1. Now, Nick Grimshaw.
Ooh, scary, Reg. How are you, man?
I'm good. They say your name now. That's awesome.
I know. It just used to be Annie Mac, and then we'd drop in a Grimmy.
That feels quite sexy. Nick Grimshaw.
Nick Grimshaw.
Yeah, it was good.
It's a rubbish name, innit?
No, it's not.
It is. It sounds like I sell paper.
My name's Phoebe and I'm from Midway. Lovely weather, nice in the sunshine, so it's really good. Can't wait for Adele to come on. I love her new one.
Natalie from Folkestone, Pendulum and Adele. Oh, I like her Chasing Pavements. It's pretty cool.
Hi, this is Adele and you're listening to Radio 1's Big Weekend in Maidstone, Kent.
This is the biggest thing I've ever done and probably the most exciting, so thank you very much. And a big thank you to Radio 1, they've been amazing, so it's been really good. This is Hometown Glory.
Digital.
FM. Online.
National One.
Radio 1.
BBC Radio 1 Vintage begins in 50 minutes.
The Brit Awards 2008. Radio 1.
It's Scott with Edith at the Brits.
Very well.
Nice to meet you.
Scott, I've got a phone number for you, Perez.
You do? Oh my goodness.
07770.
No, don't read that out on the radio.
Really?
Can he still hear you?
No. We just gave him the flirt divert number. I love it.
They call me Wiley. That's not my name. That's not my name. That's not my name.
And you're on air.
Thank you, chappers. That is his name, and I am Zane. And good evening. Who's our boy? 81199. Tonight's show is going to be amazing. I can say that with confidence after 52 seconds.
Radio 1. Established in 1967.
Come on!
At the end of the month, Radio 1 celebrates 4 decades at the cutting edge of new music.
In new music, we trust.
So here you go. First ever free download for Radio 1. Adele, Hometown Glory, exclusively for Zane Lowe.
You're listening to The Surgery. I'm Kelly Osbourne. Now it's time for Dr. Mark to give you as much medical information as we can squeeze into the next 10 minutes.
Accident and emergency is now open.
Mitchell, please. I'm not that kind of doctor.
The doctor will see you now.
Are you ready? Yeah.
Trevor! Trevor!
How are you, Mr. Nelson?
Hey, it's Scott. You know what to do. Leave a message. Thanks.
Hi, Scott, mate. It's JK here. Look, me and Joel not going to be around this week to do the chart show, so, any chance you could do it, mate? Yeah, and you won't have to do it all by yourself. We've got some help for you, and you're not going to believe who it is. It's the big dog himself, Westwood. He said he'll come in and help you out.
Yo, understand how it's going down? That's right, the heaviest chart of all charts. All you other charts, pack up and go home. I'm pimping this chart, baby, because that's what I does.
Radio 1's chart show.
With Scott Mills and Westwood.
Sunday from 4. I'm pimping this chart, because that's what I does.
Dog! You can't miss that chart show. I'm tuning in beyond belief.
That right there is classic radio waiting to happen. If you miss it, you are a mug.
Listen again to all of Radio 1.
At bbc.co.uk/Radio 1.
I've been on the road for about 2 months now through various different guises. It's been great running into people who are all starting bands with their friends, coming up, giving demo tapes. Can you have a listen? Of course, we do our very best to listen to everything. Every couple of weeks, we sit down with 70 or 80. We go through them. We will listen. If you're ready, you will get played. If not, just keep writing, keep recording, keep giving them to us. This band is ready. They're called the Arctic... What? Arctic Monkeys? Check this out. It's a demo.
All right, so once again, for those of you who don't know what this is, Terry Wogan has more listeners than us, even though we like him, even though he's a great broadcaster, and I look up to him and respect him, and one day I want a job at Radio 2. I want to steal some of his listeners. If we get 1 million of his listeners, that means we pretty much level out on audiences. You know, we'll be neck and neck. I like that.
We can confirm that Niles Barkley, Crazy, has become the first record to reach #1 from download sales alone. Radio 1.
Hello, please. This is David Bowie calling. Yours was the show on the wireless, Mark and Lard. Goodbye, chaps. It was all for the best.
This is Radio 1.
In June, a man who is head of specialist programming at Radio 1 took us up to this small room. He sat there, and he's a he's a calm man. He's our one seriously calm brother, yeah? And he just stood there and goes, how do you feel about 9 to 11 p.m?
I just got a buzz thinking about it again, man. Oh.
28th of July, 2004, British Asian music went to the heart of the mainstream British musical life.
08700 100 100.
Hi Dave, I hope you're having a good time in Nottingham. This is Andrew. Please can you play me Push and Strange World, please?
Don't answer selector.
Hi Dave, this is Leslie Stacey in 5
the sound of Sunday night. Dance Anthems with Dave Pearce, live from the works in Nottingham.
Dance Anthems,
It's BBC Radio 1 and we're here with you for another 2 hours tonight. We are broadcasting live from Glastonbury 2004. Next up, for 2 hours of drum and bass with Fabio and Groove Rider.
That's what I'm talking about.
BBC Radio 1 Vintage begins in 45 minutes.
At 10 o'clock for years of our teenage lives, if you were of a certain age, you remember this theme tune meant only one thing. The man who stood for the maverick, the misunderstood, the often much maligned, was about to lead us through another 2 hours of implausibly eclectic new music. He would excite and baffle us at different turns, but this slightly understated but redoubtable bloke would bundle through a pile of records that we simply wouldn't hear anywhere else on the radio.
It's called Time for Change, and going to be a bit of a change, as I keep pointing out, over the next couple of weeks while I'm away. I hope you listen to and enjoy those programmes. And I'll be back in your midst at the beginning of November, refreshed, I hope, and with loads of your requests to play too. And a session from Lally Pooner on the Tuesday. Thanks as always for listening, and coming up now, it's Anne Nightingale.
Radio 1.
From January 2004, your morning routine will never be the same again. January 5th, 2004, Chris Moyles at breakfast.
Whatever you do at breakfast, do it with breakfast on Radio 1. Judge Jules does.
Good morning to you. It's exactly 21 minutes to 8.
Big weekend, Manchester. Radio 1.
Hello, this is Stuart from the Stereophonics. You can join me and the boys and 10,000 Radio 1 listeners this Sunday at Heaton Park in Manchester for Radio 1's first one big weekend.
Radio 1. The music.
Trevor Nelson's Rhythm Nation. 97 to 99 FM, Radio 1.
Welcome to the Rhythm Nation, a very special Rhythm Nation on Radio 1 because I'd like to call her my USA girlfriend. I love her so much. We got Mary J. Blige here. Hey, Mary.
Hi, Trevor.
A dream team. Nothing more than a bunch of irons. Mikey B. Timmy.
Had the love affair with Nina in the back of my Cortina.
DJ Spoony. One Flash Harry. I'll come round my manor and give it.
Let's go get him.
Duty in Radio 1. Hey.
Sarah Clark's live from Coastline in Ibiza on Radio 1.
Having it in Ibiza, Coastline, hello! How the devil are you? We're having a corking afternoon, it's just getting better, baby. Oh, I'd like to thank the crowd here, I love you all.
Radio 1. www.bbc.co.uk/Radio 1.
Radio 1.
Hello, world.
How does it feel to be in the 21st century then? We will always remember this place tonight. We will always remember Liverpool, the Pierhead, where we saw in the year 2000.
The countdown to the millennium is on.
97 to 99 FM. Radio 1. Radio 1.
Okay, let me just tell you precisely what's happening. This is the Radio 1 Roadshow from the football ground in Marizine in Penzance. We're on stage with 20,000 people we can see on the Radio 1 screen a fantastic total solar eclipse taken from the pictures above the clouds. That's what we've been hoping to see. That's impressive on a screen.
BBC Radio 1 Vintage begins in 40 minutes.
You're on
Joe.
Wiley.
Activated. Access the music.
Hello, I am C-3PO Human Cyborg Relations in a galaxy far, far away with an important message. People of Earth, please tune in to Joe Wiley at 12 noon today to celebrate 21 years of Star Wars. Yes, the Force will be with you on Radio 1.
If you heard this sound, it's not because we're being censored or saying anything bad like something. You are yours, it's simply
97 to 99 FM.
Radio 1.
Hey, I tell you what, the vicar phoned me up the other day, asked me if I'd give him a hand organising this party he was arranging for the bishop's 70th birthday. Well, I told him I would be more than delighted to help out. You know, there's nothing more I enjoy than a good bash with the old bishop. But he's a great company, he is, particularly at parties.
Generation X, Generation X. Generation X, Generation X.
I could have been a Spice Girl had I been a little slimmer and shorter.
It's a Spice Girls weekend next weekend on Radio 1, including that Spice Girls special between 3 and 4, just ahead of the chart. We just played you that new track from the Spice Girls album, Spice World.
And thanks very much, Victoria Spice, for calling up this morning. And morning, Mr. Beckham. She misses you too.
Is there free parking at Spice World? Raymond, you're on in a minute.
Radio 1, the evening session. For a Thursday night, and we welcome our guests into the studio. We have Noel and Liam Gallagher with us. And this is the first time, Noel, you were saying you've been interviewed together since, 1994?
1964. 1964, yeah. Was that before I left the Beatles?
It was before I was born.
Or was that before you joined the Beatles?
Radio 1, the session for a Thursday night. If you're offended by any of the language on tonight's show, turn off. That's our advice.
Digital radio from the BBC. Knockout quality.
A new age in wireless.
You're hearing the future.
Bomb. Digital Radio 1 sounds better. Radio revolutionised forever.
It continues with no crackle or pop.
How does a 6-foot blonde with long legs sound?
Knockout.
Kevin Zoe, get me going. They're the breakfast stars that are bound to go far. I'm the show that's got the lot. Major hold-ups with the roundups. In his flat-out plane, he's completely insane and he's totally lost the plot.
Good morning, they've got a gap in here for us to talk. Hi, Zoe.
Ah, yes. Sorry, just take a bit of the Charleston. What a great way to start the morning. Go, sorry.
Quite a realistic Charleston, that. It's a very short gap, though.
Zoe, get me going. It's the breakfast show till 9 o'clock every morning on Radio 1.
Stop! What about the show that's chock full of quality items at the new time of 1 till 3?
Carry on!
So good morning, it's 10 past 4, it's Monday morning, it's the 28th of July, 1997. Just in case you've been living in a box somewhere in, I don't know, Bristol for the past couple of years, you don't know what year it is. 1997 is a year. Right, phone call if you want to phone up and say hello. Introduce yourself, because I'd like to introduce myself to you. I'm New Boy. Hi, new kid, on the block, Chris.
97 to 99 FM. New music on Radio 1.
Isaac, Zachary and Taylor Hanson are with me on Radio 1. Going to do another live number for us shortly. What's the best thing about being so famous, so successful, and even if you haven't seen any of the money yet, so rich, so young?
It's not what it's about. It's not what it's about. I mean, what it's about is the fact that we're getting to do the music that we love to do as a job.
Radio 1. More music.
Now then, no, all joking aside though.
Yeah.
Take that.
Shocking.
I've split today.
Take That fans are struggling to come to terms with the news the band is to split. The group says they want to quit while at the top.
Still going on about the Beatles, aren't they? I think I'll always go on about Take That. I know some people don't understand, but it is a complete addiction. I think I'm obsessed.
Ibiza as it is on 97 to 99 FM, Radio 1.
I'm Jennifer Cox from the Global Update, and I'm sat outside the Cafe Mambo, along with stacks of other people, just down the beach from the famous Cafe Del Mar, San Antonio, Ibiza. It's a great place to be. You've got people swimming in the sea, and we're sat up on the veranda drinking cold beer, listening to the music, and looking out to the horizon, waiting for the sun to go down.
Radio 1, more music.
The Driffield Times, front page, Friday, 5th of July, 1996. Chris Evans has touched down in Driffield for the event of the year. The Ginger Top radio and television superstar is here, and he's brought his wacky breakfast crew with him. At the third pip, the time will be showtime.
BBC Radio 1 Vintage begins in 35 minutes.
And I just want to welcome everyone to Notting Hill Carnival 95. Radio 1 representing live to the UK 10 till 12 midnight tonight.
You buy them, we count them down. The original UK Top 40.
So it's moment of truth time. The UK's number 2 song is Blur or Oasis. Which one do you think? Okay, I'll tell you. It's Oasis at number 2.
The UK's number 1. Essential.
And we'll post it out there on the BBC homepages of the internet. And I keep saying that and not giving you the address, and I do get a lot of inquiries, so it's very complicated, but here it comes. http://www.bbcnc.org.uk/BBC TV/Radio 1/P/Tong//index/HTML. I know it doesn't make sense, but if you've got a computer and you're out there on the internet, you will understand what I mean.
I think it's time to say good morning, voiceover man. What?
Hello?
Hello, what's going on there?
Turn this damn thing off.
Turn it off. Voiceover man.
Hello?
Hello?
Oh, thank God for that, Steve. I just bought this new drum machine. I couldn't turn the ruddy thing off.
You were jungling up there, weren't you?
Damn right, chum, I was, yes.
Now, the new 1FM breakfast show starts on Monday with Chris Evans. Good luck, Chris, and please join him and continue to support Radio 1FM. It's almost 9 o'clock. Thank you so much for your emails, your faxes, your letters and calls. Thanks for listening. And remember, I'll be back.
If you ever run a marathon, but actually, you know...
So it's any cheating, it's not just a bribe?
It's not just a bribe, any cheating. If you're a fraud and you want to unburden yourself...
Can I unburden myself now?
It's Mad Nick Hancock.
Thank you. Chemistry O-level.
Yeah.
I wrote the harbour process on my stomach.
Did you?
Yeah, it didn't come up, but I did write the harbour process on my stomach. It was always either the harbour process or the contact process came up, and of course the contact process came
How much of your stomach did it actually cover?
So I could open my shirt and just look down.
You don't think that would have been at all conspicuous?
No.
Welcome to the brand new sound of Sunday nights. Kicking off with the Essential Selection.
The weekend on 1FM.
Live and direct from those world-famous studios.
That's Purple Rain from Prince. The choice, you may be amazed to know, of a front bench spokesman for the Labour Party. Maybe not so surprised, because he's my guest tonight, Tony Blair. How old are you, Tony?
39.
Well, it's a sign of ageing that a front bench spokesman in the House of Commons is only 8 years older than I am.
But does that make you feel worried?
It does a little bit, I must admit.
The 1FM remix.
4 o'clock in the morning? What time do you call that?
You are a plank and a bit of a daft dollop.
Cheers.
If you said 1963, you were right on the butt.
Okay, and so on the show this lunchtime, the top...
Hello and good afternoon, everybody. Hello.
Tell us your favourite song and win a brand new stereo.
Well, my guest this evening, Her Royal Highness Princess Michael of Kent.
20 minutes to 2 o'clock with music now from Pink Floyd.
24 hours of the new 1FM. The remix starts March the 9th. 97 to 99.
No, 30 quid, 8 windows. So you think that's disgraceful? A fellow was on the phone earlier. £3 up there in Scarborough for 8 windows, inside and out. You're not tight, are you?
Me?
It does say here, Bruno, tighter than ever.
That's the show.
Oh,
mate.
right, I understand now.
97 to 99.
Sam and Mayo. Daylight come and we one wake up. Always look on the bright side of life.
Come on, show us what you're made of.
Music radio for the 90s. Radio 1 FM. Summer radio on the Philip Schofield Show. Hear his music grow on the Philip Schofield Show.
Summer, that's a joke.
BBC Radio 1 Vintage
Europe's #1 station.
begins in 30 minutes.
BBC Radio 1.
The Merry White House Experience. Thank you. Now, I'd like to say at this stage that nothing in this programme is at all risque, near the bone, offensive or even satirical. In fact, we'll be spending most of the time talking about the weather. And speaking of the weather, I must say it's been a very, very mild winter. You can tell that because there are so many pensioners still around.
Well, hello there. This is TV on the Radio, Thomas Vance, the music vendor, and welcome to the Friday Rock Show.
Thank you.
Join us when we come back as Britain's top-rated award-winning radio show continues after the news.
Yes. Right now, 4:30 in Central Europe, 3:30 the UK. The news on the network. Mark Whittaker reports.
News 90 with Sybil Roscoe and Alan Robb.
And this is how it looks tonight.
After 2 days of freedom, Soweto's favourite son is welcomed home.
Nelson Mandela.
What is 75 feet long with a stage area of 13,000 square feet? What has its own satellite ground station and generator, a mobile record and CD library, and a state-of-the-art broadcast studio? What will be seen by over 750,000 people this year alone? What is the biggest free show of the summer? It's the new Radio 1 Roadshow 1990 at a town near you.
Today, live from the green Seton Carew Hartlepool with Phillips Schofield.
BBC Radio 1 FM, good morning from Seton Carew. Well, we must have about, how many did you reckon? 20,000 people. That sounds to me like 20,000 people. There are happy faces like you have never seen before.
Have we gone off the air? Have we gone off the air?
Radio 1 FM.
National Radio 1 with the UK's favourite DJs.
Steve Wright.
Stay right.
Mr. Angry.
Yes, it's me again from Pearly, Mr. Angry.
Britain's favourite Radio 1.
Such a busy show. I really don't know what to do. Who's that?
Don't do that. What you did there.
Gervais, I wasn't taking the mickey out of you, I promise.
You doing it?
The love-hate relationship of the decade.
No,
it's all yours.
No.
What do you mean love-hate?
Oh, just
hate.
Just.
Bye. Rise and shine on Radio 1. Good morning. Bruno and Liz in the morning. Radio 1 FM. My brave
Right, let's put your chips down. How you doing?
Morning, Bruno. Morning, everybody. Here we go again.
Unfortunately.
I've been living in style.
Have you been to Hamburg before?
You've won!
You have just won 24 hours of laughs. Oh, you are a winner!
Listen and win.
31 days in May. You got it. And May's not finished yet. Stay tuned for more big prizes on the big one. Radio 1 FM.
In the beginning, there was Tony Blackburn.
Nothing like giving yourself a round of applause before you start, is there?
And then came Noel Edmonds.
Hello, good morning.
Followed by DLT. And then there came Mike Reed, followed by the man they named Mike Smith.
Question is, which unusual vegetable?
And now...
It's me, Simon Mayo.
The Breakfast Crew.
Simon Mayo.
Radio 1 FM.
It's coming up to 8 o'clock. This is Radio 1 with history in the making. 3, 2, 1. In goes the switch.
The radio of the future is here today.
Brilliant! We are now on in FM in central Scotland. Welcome to the exciting new sound of Radio 1. All your records are going to sound brilliant now.
BBC Radio 1 Vintage begins in 25 minutes.
Britain's favourite Radio 1.
So, they did the decent thing, and in October 1976 they got married, and they had all the things that young couples want. A large mortgage, the in-laws round every Sunday for lunch, and no baby talk. Until after a few years, she got broody, did Moira, and in February 81, Victoria was born. And that's where the Our Tune comes in, because, in fairness, Steve isn't that slushy and sentimental, but Moira is. And this is what Moira saw when she came round.
Gary Davis bit in the middle. Radio 1.
5'10.5", faded suntan, smooth, suave, sophisticated, and the moment that you have been waiting for, an inside leg measurement of... Oh, Kitty, you've come in. Oh, come in for the night. Yeah, I'll get you your dinner in a sec. You just go over there in the corner of the studio. Make yourself at home, Kitty.
Coast to coast in FAB stereo.
Great Britain's top 40.
Now,
Britain's number 1.
Rick Astley gets the biggest selling single of 1987 with Never Gonna Give You Up.
Well, that's a bit much. Rick Astley, number 1 this week, Never Gonna Give You Up. Bit much starting the show without me this morning. I'm a bit upset by that, actually. I thought you would have waited.
Mike Smith.
Just because it's 7 o'clock doesn't mean you have to go and start the show without me. I mean, you know, normally most places they wait for the presenter to arrive. Well, I suppose there's no holding you back this morning. 4 minutes past 7. I'm still trying to get over a rude awakening I was recording just a few minutes ago, which we haven't actually resolved.
Radio 1.
It's all on compact disc from now until 6 in FM stereo.
That was for Michelle Wallace of Mount Sol in Leicestershire, who has something to say to Samantha Fox. Now, look here, she says, Sam, you blabbing on in the sun about having started the ripped jeans fashion. She says, I'm afraid not, Sam. Morton of Aha started it. Well, I'm afraid not, Michelle, because as far as I know, it was the Ramones that started it. Years and years ago, they had ripped jeans, and they're back in this country, and I'm going to try and see them and check out if they still have probably the same pair of ripped jeans that they had about 8 years ago.
The best sound in Britain. National Radio 1.
Simon Bass is coming along in a moment. Right now it's 9:30. Tuesday morning, 29th of April.
Radio 1.
In the newsroom, Ian Parkinson.
The Americans have offered to help the Russians after the major nuclear accident in the Ukraine. It happened at the Chernobyl power station north of the city of Kiev.
Hello, I'm Janice Long, and in this series I'm chatting away to girls who've been successful with their music, and we're talking about all sorts of things. Now this week it's a girl who originally came to prominence as one half of an electro duo formed as a result of a split within Depeche Mode. Well, this week it's Alison Alf Moye.
Nighttime Radio 1 with
It's 12 noon in London, 7 a.m. in Philadelphia. And around the world, it's time for Live Aid. 16 hours of live music in aid of famine relief in Africa.
They opened the doors, one person ran on the pitch, then another person ran on the pitch, then another person, and before you knew it, the stadium was filled with 72,000 people.
Everybody was crying around me, you know. I just thought, Christ, what a noise, you know. And I think then the scale of the thing hit me when I saw all those people.
Good morning, children of the 80s and others. This is your Woodstock, and it's long overdue.
You might not be afraid of ghosts, but here's a man who certainly knows his spirits. At 8 o'clock in the morning, it's... sorry, Peter can't make it this morning. We've got a budgie in instead. How are you, Pete?
All right, great.
All right,
absolutely true. I don't know why. Perhaps because I had a really hot bath at about 6:45 this morning, and I just sort of wallowed in there for about 15 minutes.
Ooh, so you're on the boil?
I'm absolutely bubbling, yeah.
BBC Radio 1 Vintage begins in 20 minutes.
This week's Top 40.
That's Living All Right, Auf Wiedersehen Pet from Joe Fagan.
2.
Pipes of Peace from Paul McCartney.
1.
Frankie Goes to Hollywood with Relax, which, because of the nature of its lyric, we don't think suitable for broadcasting. The Top 40 is produced by Don George, and we're back on air, 5 o'clock until 7 next week.
Number 1 for music. Radio 1.
Thank you, Simon.
9-3-275-9-3-9-3
Times this morning featuring the hits and headlines from 1970 and 1982. 11:30, it's a bit of hang about, leave it out, will you? 2 o'clock. I'm all right, you all right? Let's go down to the Ideal Home exhibition, which should be all right. All right, go along and say hello, Steve. You all right? I'm all right, mate. 4:30. Hello, mate. It's Peter Powell, including a couple of rounds of the record race. 7 o'clock. It's a bit of what's on? Walter's Weekly. David Jensen tonight featuring War and Sisters of Mercy in session. Sounds of gas, eh, chums?
Radio 1. Good evening.
And in London to chat on the programme tonight is Morrissey, who's the lead singer of the Smiths. Hello, Morrissey.
Hello.
The first thing we've got to do, I guess, is establish for people who may not know anything about you, which is, I guess, quite a few people outside Manchester, how you came to be in a band called the Smiths. Are you a founder member of the quartet?
Yes, I am. I was discovered, if you like, by Johnny, the guitarist. He just came and unearthed me one day and insisted that we collaborate, and the Smiths emerged immediately, and we planned a strategy and everything's worked.
Lenny Henry.
Hello. A lot of people have written in asking how to become a Radio 1 DJ. Well, it is quite simple, really. All you have to do is speak clearly into the
mic.
And you don't even have to be well educated. Of course, some of our jocks can
read
and
write
and do arithmetic, but we don't hold it against them. After all, one day it might come in
handy.
Now, you do need to have
sharp
wits and drive a flash car, something like a
Jensen.
And you must be prepared to play oldies like
Simon Smith
and his amazing dancing bear. Make sure your sentences aren't too
long,
or the BBC will never give you a
pat
on the back, and you'll stand no chance of winning a
Tony
award. In fact, your whole career could
Peter
out and become a complete
travesty.
For more hints and some great music, join me this Sunday from 10 till 12 on the Lenny Henry Sunday Hoot. But now, if you'll excuse me, I really must go to the
John Radio 1.
The Top 40 right now in stereo on VHF and also 275 and 285 meters in the medium wave band. Straight in the Radio 1 Top 40, position number 26. That's a new entry, Darren Darren and Another Called Planet Earth.
Radio 1 News.
There's been reaction on both sides of the Atlantic to the murder earlier this morning of the former Beatle John Lennon. He was shot dead outside his home in New York. Our reporter Tom Brooke told us about the man who they're holding.
He's a 25-year-old Hawaiian called Mark Chapman. No one knows what the motive was.
National Radio 1. 275 and 285. Adrian Just.
Do you know, I've had some amazing news this week. There's some bloke in the south of England going around saying that he's me. Oh, hello, I'm Adrian Just from the BBC. You know. I wonder if you just like nice to meet me. Fellas, everybody out!
Simon had gone. Later tried for Paul, Tony, Kid and John. Watched the no one left to put the records on.
275 and 285. We take 275 and 285. We're on a new wave band. We're still the best in the land. 275, 285, Radio 1.
I was thinking,
Welcome back, my friends, to the show that never ends. We're so glad you could attend. Come inside, come inside.
greetings, music lovers. It would take at least 24 hours of solid transmission to gather our last 5 years together and even hope to represent them in our final 3 hours. And today's music is chosen by you, the Saturday music lover, of the Giants on album. And here beginneth the final chapter on Saturday.
BBC Radio 1 Vintage begins in 15 minutes.
275 and 285.
275, 285.
Radio 1.
You don't believe this, of course, but I'm feeling kind of humbled tonight because this is the last Radio 1 programme to be broadcast before we lumber over to 275, 285 metres. And do we have a special programme for you? No, not really, but we've got quite a good one.
Radio 1's new wave load from November 23. Rotating the dial hub to 2750 or 2850. That's your new reception holders. Now there's a joy.
Teenage dreams, so hard to beat. Every time she walks down the street, another girl in the neighborhood. When she was mad, she looked so good. I wanna hold her tight. Get teenage kicks right through the night.
247 Radio 1. Radio 1. Gambaccini.
It's time now for the most trivial fact ever broadcast on Radio 1. Only 3 records in America's top 25 this week are going down, and that ties the record for fewest records going down in the top 25 in 1 week. Now, we've already heard all 3, which says something about the top 9 you're about to hear. Math majors who heard last week's program will be able to compute what's going on.
Beep, 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 yeah. Traffic news from Radio 1. Beep, 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 beep. Be a safe driver. Beep, 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 yeah. Radio 1 on the road.
In the summertime, here on Radio 1, David Hamilton brings you so much fun. From 3 till 5, special guests and special groups to blow your mind. Here at Mallory Park, David Hamilton on Super Radio 1.
Thank you very much indeed. Welcome to the Radio 1 Fun Day Out from a very congested Mallory Park.
It's National Radio 1.
Well, I don't know what's happened there. We're supposed to have a little jingle, you see, that comes charging in and says it's Wednesday and it's Sounds of the 70s, and tonight it's Dancing Jack Peel. It's what it's supposed to say, but I'll tell you what, we'll do it now.
Radio 1 on 247 metres and VHF with Sounds of the 70s.
Radio 1.
Tonight, Top Gear with John Peel.
A fine start, I think you'll agree, to practically any programme.
Radio 1.
Super!
Sing yes, BBC.
On 247 meters, you're tuned to Radio 1. It's exactly 1 o'clock.
Johnny Walker. Radio 1. Super Friday.
Pop the question. Pop, 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 pop the question now.
BBC Radio 1 Vintage begins in 10 minutes.
Everything is here on 247. Music, fun, and laughter all day long. Turn your radio on.
Turn your radio.
And tune to Radio 1.
Tune to Radio 1.
Every house jam-packed full of pleasure, represented by this little rhyme. Tune to Radio 1. Tune to Radio 1. Have a really good time.
On behalf of the entire British public, I appeal to you. Don't I, chaps?
Yes, Kenny, you certainly do.
Here we go.
Time on Radio 1 is 5 o'clock, and here is Anne Nightingale, as promised, to introduce the... Let me say.
Sorry, Terry.
Look, who's the senior man around here?
You are. Incidentally, I have a friend called Henry. He has a complaint to make. He says that he's been fighting off Flab ever since you started your whole campaign. He drives along in his car, and as soon as that comes on, he leaps out of his car, side of the road, does all the exercises, and he says that he's now put on 4 pounds.
I thought you were going to tell me he was knocked 40 yards by a passing truck.
But he's putting on weight. What are you going to do about it?
I'm not going to lay a finger on him, aren't I?
So Susan Hubbard, many happy returns and happy birthday to you. Susie, wake up.
Hello, darling.
Thank you.
Take a Wellington boot full of... In addition to which you add an Morning Zebedee, an LP showcase full of... And finally the merest hint of... And what have you got?
247 Super Music.
Hello, this is Johnny Moran. This afternoon at 4 o'clock on Radio 1, Seen and Heard celebrates 5 years on Radio 1. And for our 5th anniversary edition, we've got an interview with country music star Johnny Cash.
Just turn that dial. Make your music worthwhile. Radio 1. You stole my gal. But I love you just the same.
The Radio 1 computer scans the nation and now presents the brand new Radio 1 Fun 30. And here we are again on our brand new Fun 30. And the news this week is that we have 5 new entries, and all of them in the section from 21 to 30.
It's too much. Radio 1 is wonderful.
Well, Nichols, it's Dave Cash. It is. Hello, Dave.
Hello, Kenneth. How are you? I got a cold, man.
You've got one of you. Oh.
And everything. Oh.
Try this new remedy. Slap this over your conch.
All right.
Isn't that wonderful? He won't notice your nose from now on.
Emperor Roscoe. Hey, good morning, good afternoon to everybody. Always here, easy as butter's greasy. Got our thing going for us today. At 247 meters, got lots of things to say and much more to play. Tell you all about it in about 3 short minutes. It's always great to be back at Tips here in the heart of Exeter.
12:30 on Radio 1, the news in English.
Everything is wonderful on Radio 1. There's such a lovely lot of records and it's bundles of fun. And every now and then there's tons of jolly jingles and all. So everybody is listening, having a ball. 247 meters is the station to be. If you would like to listen to the greatest records with me, just sit and hold tight. Don't move. Auntie BBC is the groove. 247.
Here's news. Starting in September, the BBC begins a new service for fans of popular music. There'll be light. And then there's pop. And then there's always...
Excuse me.
This is how Radio 247 will work. From September, the BBC Light programme channel on the medium wave will split from the service on 1500 metres in the long wave band, and with a little help from a lot of the newer DJs on the scene, will provide music all day, going back to the light only for programmes like Saturday Club, Midday Spin and Housewife's Choice. Music, 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 all day on the new BBC Popular Channel 247.
In very little time now, it will be my pleasure and privilege to launch Radio 1 and 2. All of us here who have worked so hard during these past weeks have done so with two principal aims in view: to provide you with a better service of popular music and a greater measure of choice. A good deal of publicity has surrounded the plans for Radio 1, because in many ways it represents a new concept for BBC Radio. Radio 1 is designed to be young in heart and in style. And Radio 2 is much more than the old light programmes shed of its 247-metre wavelength. It offers many alternatives to pop music whilst retaining the most popular features of the old light programme. Radio listening is part of the daily life of most of us. Any change in programmes or wavelengths takes some getting used to. And the changes involved in Radio 1 and 2 are pretty sweeping. We can only hope that they will find acceptance, and in due course we hope popularity too. Because most of what Radio 1 and 2 are going to do will be live, it's not possible to rehearse and evaluate everything beforehand. And like a new pair of shoes, we shall be breaking the networks in until they fit properly. And we must crave your indulgence if the shoes squeak a bit, though we hope they won't. And very far from a squeak is the exciting sound of George Martin's Theme 1 for Radio 1, part of which will herald the start of Radio 1's day from now on and close the combined networks at 2 o'clock in the morning. Listen to it now as it receives its first broadcast on Radios 1 and 2, Radio 1's Theme 1. Well, that was George Martin's splendid Theme 1 for Radio 1. And this morning we have played it in full on both Radio 1 and 2. Well, in a few moments, it's going to be 7 o'clock, time for the first Tony Blackburn show on Radio 1, whilst Breakfast Special continues on Radio 2 with Paul Hollingdale. But now, with the clock ticking slowly up to 7 a.m. It's going to be time to welcome Radio 1's first early show on 247 meters medium wave, whilst Breakfast Special continues on Radio 2. 10 seconds to go before Radio 1, Tony Blackburn, and Radio 2, Paul Hollingdale. Stand by for switching. Get tuned to Radio 1 or 2. 5, 4, 3. Radio 2, Radio 1, go.
The voice of Radio 1. Just for fun. Music. Too much.
And good morning, everyone. It's 50 years ago today since I welcome you to the exciting new sound of Radio 1.